Like a businesswoman, I make a lot of stupid business decisions, guys, because I'm a mom and I want to be a mom first. But I don't really wear sandals for comfort. I wear them for pretty. So if that tells you anything. If I want to be comfortable, I'll just be barefoot or sleeping around, or just like so many different lifestyle choices that have protected me from so much, and I'm so grateful. So although a chocolate chip cookie is not bad, and sometimes that's what you should eat when you're craving a chocolate chip cookie, it's not necessarily doing wonders for your body either. Funny story, we put them to bed at night and then we get them up in the morning and they stay in their rooms until we get them up. And that'll go a long way for your marriage. I'll let you do the math on that. But if you're not getting your kids to help around the house, I think that's when you should be feeling the mom guilt. Hot take, I know. Hey, it's a new day and welcome back to my channel. Girls, yes, today is a girl chat, so that's who this video is for. I'm gonna try this agave grapefruit soda that I found at Trader Joe's back when we were in Florida and there was a Trader Joe's nearby. Oh my goodness, it's like one of those liquid grapefruit halls. You know what I'm talking about? In a good way. Oh, that is so good. Anyway, today we're gonna address a bunch of topics that, for me, my friends know I can get super awkward about something, but I think with my platform, it's good sometimes to connect heart to heart and to not brush over, gloss over some topics, especially when the world is talking about these things, and I would like to talk about them from my Christian perspective. So I'm glad you're here. I'm not gonna be like using words that you can't have your kids listen to, but the topics themselves might be a little more intimate than usual. If you are new to my channel, by the way, I normally do mom-related vlogs and just lifestyle content, things like that. So I'm glad you're here, stick around. And these types of videos, I feel like definitely solidify my audience. I feel like if you just found my channel, a video like this will let you know right away if you like me or if you don't. So if you don't like me, I get it. Like, not everybody's personalities can click. Just move on. That's the beauty of the internet, right? But the rest of you, let's get into the questions. I'm really embarrassed. I put out a bunch of questions on Instagram literally 2 months ago about what should we talk about with my upcoming girl chat. And then I just never got around to filming it, which I don't know why. These are some of my absolute favorite ones to film. They're really easy to edit as well. Yeah, in this season of life, I wish I could put these in more often because, yeah, they're just a lot of fun. So you guys know that my videos have a lot of different things going on in one video, and it seems like I'm doing a lot. I'm super productive. Yes, that's what it seems like. And overall, I'm a very motivated and productive person. Maybe that's like the oldest in me. I don't know, but I think there is some kind of wiring that you are born with where you're more like task focused or people focused or introvert, extrovert, that type of thing. So I don't feel like I chose that totally myself. But something I wanted to talk about first was, what do you do in your free time that we don't see? And so that's such a good question because I do relax. I do have some downtime, not as much as I would like sometimes, but that's mom life. Don't we all wish for more of that? But that's the kind of thing that I would never take my camera out and film because, I mean, that's not content, right? So things that I do that you don't see for relaxing would be, one, I guess I love watching YouTube while I'm taking my evening showers. That's a little weird, I know. Sometimes just sitting in the car by myself and answering DMs or catching up with my friends on WhatsApp. That's relaxing for me. Bubble baths, I take them a lot more in the winter. On Sunday afternoons, that's kind of like my thing. I'm not a napper, but I do take baths in the afternoons if I can at all make it happen. Obviously, you're not seeing that. Baking and cooking for me sometimes can be relaxing. I know that sounds weird, but I kind of enjoy it. I used to get mad at these Mennonite women that would say, oh, their hobbies are gardening. And I'm like, that's not a hobby, that's work. But I have since come to learn that, you know, maybe I don't love the gardening aspect, but there is definitely parts of work that I consider relaxing, such as baking and cooking, and when you're not in a hurry or a rush and there's like no agenda. Walks, I would have to say, are like at the top of my list. They're not productive at all, but they're super like fun and relaxing. I do it for the fun of it, not necessarily the exercise. I do like the exercise. I mean, it gets my body moving and like endorphins going and all that stuff, but I'm not doing it to try to like lose weight or tone up. Walking doesn't really do that for me, but yeah, a good walk. A walk with a friend, even better. Although I do love to just like walk in silence sometimes, or I'll go with my daughter. I don't know, a walk. Definitely, I do that a lot more than you guys see on here. I would like to say reading, but I do that for like 10 minutes in the evenings once in a while. It's not a big part of my life right now, which my inner 12-year-old is so sad about. I used to be such a bookworm. Okay, the next question I wanted to address is something I said I would talk about for a while, and I just didn't want to plop it in the middle of like a day in the life video or something. I felt like it needed a little bit more thought and consideration, and that is on hormonal birth control and family planning and things like that. I've told you guys in the past that I was on hormonal birth control for 2 years, which is maybe very surprising coming from the Mennonite community, but I feel like back in the day it was really common and people were told by their doctors that it was a good thing and they trusted them, and I feel like we used to really trust our doctors, and some things have changed over the years to make us be a little more skeptical, and that can be a good thing. Like, I've learned you definitely have to be an advocate for your own family and your own health. Anyway, for a couple different reasons, I got off of hormonal birth control after being married for 2 years. I didn't have any bad side effects like some of my family members and friends. It didn't affect me at all. I had only good things really to say about it itself. It's just that knowing I was putting that into my body, the side effects that could happen, and overall I didn't think it spoke very much to my mentality of children are a gift from the Lord and God gives life and all that kind of thing. So I'm not saying that hormonal birth control is bad for everyone, but I myself would never go back on it or recommend it to a sister or a friend. When I first got married, oh my goodness, I would have been horrified if I had gotten pregnant. I was a school teacher and it was just like not on the radar at all. And you know, when you get married, you just think that you can get pregnant at the drop of a hat, and there's actually only 6 days out of your cycle that you can technically get pregnant. And if you can pinpoint when those 6 days are, that could be super helpful. So I started using an app called Natural Cycles. When you sign up for them, they send you a thermometer it has an extra digit, so it won't say 98.6, it would say 98.62 or whatever your temperature was. So a very detailed temperature reading, and then you track your temperature every day. And as you keep doing it, the app learns more over time what your cycle is. It'll first give you all red days. Like if you don't want to get pregnant, use protection the whole time. And as it learns to know you, you start getting green days and more green days over time. I have a very regular cycle, but even at the beginning, it showed me a lot of red days at first, and then slowly over time, more and more green days. And it's so fascinating. I wish so much that I did take health class in high school. I wish that they would have broken us up into guys and girls for a lot longer than they did. I think it was like a week or something. They should have done at least one day or more on just our women's cycles and bodies and everything in general. It's just so amazing, and I feel like I did not know any of this beforehand. You know, like I said, I thought you could get pregnant anytime, and I mean, I was definitely educated. I feel like some people have the impression that like Mennonites don't know anything. Yes, we know how babies are made, and I mean, I feel like our communities do pretty well, especially if you go to send your kids to middle school, high school. There we'll have those conversations, usually in segregated classes. But yeah, it's just so interesting. And so I begged Natural Cycles to sponsor a video, and finally it's happening. And I just wanted to tell you that right now I have a link where you sign up and you will get 20% off of your first year. And it is a year subscription, but you don't want to just do it for a month or two. You want to do it for the long term. So Natural Cycles is not a period tracker. Basically, you're paying for a regulated and certified algorithm that's very detailed. It knows what it's doing, and using your temperature and other fertility indicators, it's able to tell you each day what your daily fertility status is. So go to naturalcycles.com and use my code MEGAN20 to get 20% off of your annual subscription plus a free thermometer. Okay, that's the end of the ad portion, but I did want to say I plan to use Natural Cycles in the future to hopefully get pregnant with a 4th baby. Right now we're trying to do the opposite, but eventually we'd like to have a 4th child. Our first 2 babies, we did get pregnant like instantly, right away. And so I just thought that's how it was for me. And we were thrown for a loop with our 3rd. I've talked about it before, but it took us 8 months, which boo-hoo, Megan, you know, we still got pregnant. But it was hard. I will admit, it was very hard, especially when you go into it thinking, oh, I can pretty much order my baby on the month that I want it. I thank God showed me who was really in control. So anyway, when we do decide we want to try for a 4th, I'm going to go into it with so much more knowledge and so much more information than I did the first 3 times around. So I'm very glad that I not only found a non-hormonal birth control, but I also feel way more empowered and knowledgeable. And anyway, I love them. Use my link. That way they want to work with me again. Natural Cycles is the best. Along that topic with how do you talk to your children about that topic, I'll tell you where we're at with our children. I have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a baby, so the baby knows nothing. You know, babies would run around naked if you let them. But with the older kids, I just try to bring it up pretty often. Who gets in trouble if someone tries to touch you where they shouldn't? They know that they will never get in trouble. I think I just try to pound that in their head over and over again. It's not their fault. They will not get in trouble. They should always come tell a parent. For the most part, they're, you know, in our home under our jurisdiction, but as we have a kindergartner, as they get older, they're going to be away from home more and around other people. And so, yeah, it's just important to reiterate that point And what else do they know? Not a ton. I'm trying to be child-led, like with their questions, and they just don't ask a ton. Like, we talk about body parts anatomically, and they're learning right now things that we talk about in public and things we don't talk about in public. Sometimes that can be kind of hard for a child to navigate, like, what do we say out loud in public versus at home? And so that's something that's definitely at the forefront right now. Yeah, children definitely can keep you humble, that's for sure. I try to just be super matter of fact and like whatever, this is how God designed things. Why are we being ashamed of it? I haven't gotten any books yet, but I feel like I need to because they're not asking questions. And I think that they're 5 and 4 and it's time for them to learn some things. My daughter does know about the eggs. She knows that women have eggs. So we talked about that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I should start being a little more proactive because they're not acting that curious. And I do want them to get their information from me and not from an older, okay, they don't have older cousins really, but you know what I mean? Not from other peers and things like that. So yeah, I'm not here to give advice on that topic necessarily. Why do I call myself a Mennonite and not a Christian? Okay, this is a good question. I'd like to elaborate on this one a little bit. I am a Christian. That's the most important part. I follow Jesus. He is the way, the truth, and the life, and he's the answer to everything. And he made you and created you and loves you like nobody else can. That is what I believe. And the Bible is God's word. Through it, we can read it and understand more about him. The Bible is not specifically just for me, myself, and I. It's not that I read it and figure out what I can get out of it. I read it to see more about God, and that the Bible never changes. No matter what's happening in my life, the Bible says, I am the Lord, I change not. I hate change, guys. So that verse is very dear to me because you know what? God doesn't change. No matter what situation you're in, the Bible's there. It's that absolute truth in this day and age where everybody has their own truth. I mean, if everybody has their own truth, then there is no truth, you know? So I'm so glad I have that anchor and that hope. And the best part is that it works. When people try to rewrite their own rules and color outside God's lines, sure, you can do that. God's given us free will. Go for it. But you're going to hurt yourself. Like, absolutely tragedy can come into my life, but there's so many tragedies that I can specifically avoid just by following God's word and, you know, not using substances or sleeping around or just like so many different lifestyle choices that have protected me from so much. And I'm so grateful. So I don't look at the Bible as a set of rules at all. In fact, I feel like a lot of people come to a lot of those guidelines themselves, even if they aren't Christians, because it just makes sense. The Bible is very common sense, I believe, and God created the world. So wouldn't he have the best roadmap for how to navigate it? Just my thoughts. Christian is the correct term, but Mennonites are a type of Christian and we live out our Christian life in a specific way. It's not necessarily the only way, but I believe that it is a very good way. And I feel like most of my choices, I'm not perfect guys, but most of my life choices and the way I'm raising my children and stuff, I do feel like God would endorse. I feel like they are biblical. I feel like while they're not always politically correct in this day and age, they are based on the truth. And so I'm not gonna apologize for them. I think the main reason I put Mennonite in my videos and label myself as a Mennonite mom and everything is the YouTube algorithm, guys. Honestly, at the end of the day, if I can put the word Mennonite in a title and it's the truth, I am a Mennonite, I live the Mennonite way of life, then it will push it out to more people and then more people will click on my videos and more people will see the message that I have to share. So it's not dishonest at all in any way. I don't regret it. I'll probably keep right on doing it, but it does have something to do with the performance on YouTube as well. And I don't talk about like Mennonite all the time. If you actually do click on my videos, I'm not like trying to be an advocate to get people to become Mennonite. It's about Jesus. It's not about being a Mennonite or not being a Mennonite. But I do cherish my Mennonite upbringing very much, and I hope to pass that on to my children as well. Some things you might notice that are different about me is that I do only wear dresses and skirts. I grew up thinking that was for modesty reasons. As I'm getting older, I'm like, you can be immodest in a dress or a skirt, and you can be very modest in pants if you want to. So it's more, for myself, I've decided to keep that practice of only wearing dresses and skirts, but more from the idea of dressing femininely. And I just feel like you carry yourself a certain way when you're wearing a dress or a skirt and people look at you in a certain way. They expect something of you. They expect you to act like a lady. You look out of place in certain areas, and that's actually a good thing. You don't blend in with the rest of the world as much, although I don't think I need to specifically go out there and try to look weird or different. It innately happens just by how culture has come so far over so long. So yeah, that's not really the reason why I do it, but you do stand out. And I think it was really good for me, especially as a teenager. I know I often felt really awkward, but it was good for me. And that's probably not something my husband will understand quite as much since he's a guy. He blends in pretty much pretty easily. And I know that gets some people worked up. Why does he get to wear whatever he wants and you don't get to? You're being oppressed. I mean, he doesn't wear like big giant words all over his shirts and like weird slogans. He's careful that he doesn't endorse things on his clothing that he doesn't want to. But for the most part, I feel like mainstream men dress decently modestly already. So it makes sense that Josh wouldn't stand out quite as much. Also, I do cover my head, and you guys might be confused. I know some of you are like, your head isn't covered, Megan. Technically, no, my whole entire head is not covered, but my hair is up. It is covered, the majority of it. And that goes back to 1 Corinthians 11. When I read that, I believe God is talking to all of us today. Even some people will look at that and say, it's not for today. It was for back during Paul's time. I would argue with that, and I could do a whole video kind of explaining it a little more because I have dug into it now. I feel a little more qualified to speak on that topic, but that's not the video for it. So let me know if you want to know more, but it might be a little heavier, a little more like splitting hairs, and I want to be more careful with addressing stuff like that when I'm going into like deep theology. I did not go to seminary. I'm like, you know, I like to learn. So anyway, that's where that comes from. And there's also several different beliefs that you might not just see as I walk down the street, but we are non-resistant. We believe in the concept of us being part of God's kingdom first, and then whatever nationality we are. And so we live to promote his kingdom first. So we do try to raise good citizens and obey the laws of the land, but at the end of the day, Jesus is king. So yes, I'm a Mennonite, but I'm a Christian. Let's not get confused. What is your view on healthy eating? Oh my goodness. I've been thinking about it more lately. The culture lately has been all about there's no such thing as bad food. You know, stop moralizing foods and labeling them as good or as bad. I mean, food is good for you, but I think the category of food is so broad anymore. I would argue that a big chunk of food is not food. It's like plastics and like you can't, I don't think God considered that as food, but we're putting all these dyes and things into our food and still calling it food. So yeah, maybe that definition needs to be a little bit changed. But as far as how I'm raising my children, they know that if you eat too much of anything, you will get sick. If you eat too much candy, you'll get sick. Too much milk, too much broccoli, even good things. Eating too much of one thing, you will get sick. And so it's good to eat a variety of foods. We're not just gonna eat all dairy products and get plugged up or whatever. So we do talk about that pretty often with the children. As far as like healthy eating, I have come and gone on this. So that's why I'm not like an advocate for any one thing, because I'll get on like my high horse on a certain thing. Like right now I'm trying to cook with healthy oils, avocado oil, coconut oil, and just getting rid of more of my vegetable oils and things like that, because I thought it's like an easy swap, not a big deal. We try to get our meat from good sources, try not to get all the hormone processed things. But as far as like healthy things, we have Doritos in our pantry sometimes. I will not let Oreos in my house, but sometimes Josh does. I'm not the health queen, but every time I go for groceries, I try to think, okay, how are we getting our vegetables in this week? What fruit will the kids want to eat this week? Like I actively try to plan and I make sure I have those types of things around so we don't always have to reach for the junk food. But yeah, we have unhealthy foods in our home that I think sometimes we try to convince ourselves are healthy, you know, like those sugary yogurts or the dried mangoes that are laden in sugar. So I'm never gonna tell you how to eat because I know I could go a long way. I use sugar in my cooking, although I've been trying to switch to more cane sugar and less processed stuff, honey more, that type of thing. So I guess with me talking here, you can kind of get my state of mind where I'm at currently. I've been recently trying to grind my own flour. Honestly, that's more for like the flavor of it all. I don't know. I mean, yes, it does hold its nutrients more if you're grinding your flour fresh. But yeah, I just thought that was something I'd like to try. Also, when it comes to the amount of food that we eat, my kids have never had to clear their plates. I don't even clean my own plate, guys. And I feel like over time you can learn how hungry you are and like gauge accordingly. But it's hard. Like I'm still learning that. So I get it if the kids think they're hungrier than they are and they don't clear their plate. That's just not a battle I've ever picked. And obviously if it become a problem, if I see them heaping up their plate at a fellowship meal with one thing, it's like, no, absolutely not. You're never gonna eat that much and you need to have a variety, you know? Like, and I raise them that they have to taste everything and they have to taste everything every time, because just because you don't like carrots one way, you might like them another way. You never know. Like I always tell them, hey, maybe this time you'll like tomatoes. These are cherry tomatoes. And we like taste and see. And most of the time, no, they still don't like it. But you know what? They tasted it. And I feel like my flavor palette exploded when I was like maybe it was because of being pregnant. I don't know. I blamed it on being married and doing my own cooking and trying things out and whatever. But I learned to like a whole nother realm of food, like macaroni salad and coleslaw and lots of weird things I would never have eaten before. And that only happened in my 20s. So it's a continual thing. I don't expect them to like love everything right off the bat. And my husband was such a picky eater, and he still is kind of, and I actually feel like that should be a sin. Like, I feel like that's not allowed, but you know what? That's the cards were dealt, right? And he's come a long way, of course. But when you look at it with where they've come from, neither me or Josh are like the type of people that will just eat anything. Like even ethnic foods, I'm still learning to like some of the different varieties. So yeah, kind of where we're at with our family. And I do think that this whole idea of like, eat what you want, it's healthy, like everything's good for you, that's not the truth if you think about it. Although a chocolate chip cookie is not bad, and sometimes that's what you should eat when you're craving a chocolate chip cookie. It's not necessarily doing wonders for your body either. Funny story, one year for Lent, I'm not Catholic, but me and my friend decided to do a whole no chips, no soda, no candy, no ice cream. It was like a list of like refined, processed sweets and salty snacks and stuff. But since I couldn't have chocolate, and like some days all I would want is chocolate, and so I'd try this and try that and whatever. I'd try to find anything to satiate the desire for chocolate. I gained weight over those 40 days, which is crazy to me, but it makes sense because I was trying to fill that craving with something that wasn't going to satisfy. So sometimes you just need to eat the chocolate, okay? It's fine. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Wedding planning tips. Oh my goodness, guys, don't we all love talking about weddings no matter how old we are? I feel like it's still such a fun topic. But with wedding planning, I would definitely say start early. Have a decently long engagement if you care about wedding stuff. I feel like there's sometimes this push that if you care about anything aesthetic with your wedding, then that's not even what it's about. Like, true, a wedding is about a marriage. It's not about the wedding, but you get one wedding, and I don't think you need to feel guilty about like wanting to throw your all into planning your perfect party and like having the decor how you like it. It is your special day, and I feel like you have a license to do that. I loved planning my wedding. I had a lot of things. I had a lot of little elements. I thought of all the little details. My mom was just as bad, let's be honest. She was having fun with it too at the beginning. I think she was a little burned out by the end with all my creativity, but we had a lot of fun planning my wedding, and I was the first daughter. I'm the oldest, so first daughter getting married. But I think when it comes down to it, try to get all your ducks in a row, like the month before, and then the month of, don't worry about your wedding. Like, worry about setting up your house, and if things aren't working out, big whoop-de-doo, like don't stress out about it. Like, enjoy that last month, especially the last week too. I feel like there was a few stressing points like towards the end that I let myself get worked up over. And looking back, there was nothing I need to get worked up over, but it's like, I hate change, and I was processing moving out of my parents' home and in with my husband and being married and having a husband, sleeping with someone, and like all that stuff. And so that's like overwhelming. You have that in the back of your head, even if you're not actively thinking about it, it's there, that pressure and that stress. And then when you have something little going wrong with your wedding, like cotton candy going flat the day before and stuff like that. I had cotton candy favors at my wedding, and the humidity deflated them, so we had to start all over again the next day. Anyway, little things like that are not a big deal at the end of the day. And make sure that when you are at your wedding, yes, make sure it's about you and your spouse. Like, don't leave them, stay together, like if you can, but also make it be about the other people too, because you guys have a whole marriage to be together. You're gonna be together on your honeymoon. I don't think it's wrong to enjoy talking with family and friends that are there. At our weddings, we don't dance, so there's a lot of just milling around and congregating and talking and stuff. And so yeah, enjoy that, do that, don't leave early, soak up every minute of it if you can. I know people are gonna argue with me, you should leave right away. I mean, for us Mennonites that wait till marriage, like, yes, I mean, it can be exciting to just leave, but your wedding's over when you leave, and you're never getting that back again. So I don't know, we had an afternoon wedding, so that was really nice. We didn't have to feel like we had to, like, we left at like 6:30, and so we had the whole evening yet. So if you have an evening wedding and you're getting out of your wedding really late, I can see how that would be like a hard decision. So anyway, just some thoughts I thought of when I saw your question. The little details are fun. I give you license to have fun with your wedding, but that's not what it's all about. Also, I don't care what your budget is, find someone to record your wedding. I wish I had my wedding on videotape so much. Even just having somebody with a camcorder or something would have been so nice to have. But that's just me. Not everybody's like that. Marriage advice for moms of littles. Oh my goodness. That could be a good whole topic. One thing I will say that just came to my mind is put some effort into your appearance, and not just how you look, but how you feel. It seems like really superficial, and wow, Megan, you're so shallow. No, I think that when you feel a little bit presentable and just like a human being, your marriage will go better just because on your end. Like even like my husband, oh my goodness, I don't even half the time look nice for him. It's usually for me. So I feel more confident in myself and better and just like a human. He thinks I look good with my hair piled on top of my head, you know, whatever. But I feel like that does go a long way if when they're coming home from work or whatever and you feel absolutely frazzled, don't pick up all the toys and stuff. Just spend time, a little bit of time putting on some chapstick and like splashing cold water on your face. At least it makes you feel like you made a little bit of an effort. That's a very superficial answer. As far as like actual marriage advice with littles around, you actually have it pretty easy. I'll tell you that. I feel like for me, I actually have it pretty easy. Besides those years when you have like a young baby or something, that's hard when you're not getting your sleep. But if you're getting your sleep, little children, you can talk together in the car. They don't understand. They can't repeat the things you're saying because they can't speak. Like I'm just now entering the phase of a 5-year-old and suddenly it's like, oh my goodness, our time together has been literally cut in a quarter of what it used to be because we don't have private time in the car talking, you know? But we still, you know, even though I have a 5-year-old, I look ahead into the future and be like, wow, we still have it so much easier now than we will have it because my kids go to bed at 8 o'clock, 8:30. We have the evenings to ourselves. We can do what we want and not worry about, you know, the little people. And that's another thing. This is good advice. Write it down right now. Teach your children to stay in their rooms when you put them to bed. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I feel like I could have some people mad at me right now, but like that's not a non-negotiable for our children. Like they are allowed to go to the bathroom and go back to their room and that's it. Like that's a non-negotiable. If we hear them loitering around or anything like that, we nip it in the bud right away. We put them to bed at night and then we get them up in the morning and they stay in their rooms until we get them up. And that'll go a long way for your marriage. I'll let you do the math on that. But yeah, I could give you 25 other tips, but our marriage isn't perfect, so I'll reserve those for when I know more of what I'm talking about, right? Oh dear, guys, I just asked for some more girl chat questions just so I had some fresh ones because the ones I've been doing were like 2 months ago. Oh dear, I have so many. What rules about dating did you follow that you won't expect from your daughter? I liked my dating rules. I was very, some might say prudish, but you know what? I don't have regrets then. Honestly, my rules were pretty good. I think they should, I hope my daughter holds most of those standards, if not all of them. I did wait a very long time to give Josh a hug. Maybe that was a little unnecessary, I don't know. But you know what? We dated for 2.5 years. We had to spread things out, so that's fine. I don't know. And we kissed the month before we got married. I love that. I would say kiss 2 months before you get married. No, I don't know. That stage of life was really fun, I have to admit. When you're married and you're allowed to do whatever, suddenly the kissing and stuff is, I don't know, it's a little different. It's still great, but it doesn't have to stop there, so. Hardest part about pregnancy, motherhood, and the best part. Hardest part is probably the lack of sleep. And also just the worry. Like the worry can eat away at you. You can find 1,000,001 things to worry about for each child. And that can really, you have to stuff it down. You have to like look at the good things, speak the truth. Like, is that actually just because your friend, this happened to them, does that actually mean it's gonna be happening to your kids? Social media has made that really, like you just hear all the horrible things. So yeah, I would say those are the 2 worst parts of pregnancy and motherhood. Like I would worry about that 20-week ultrasound, and then I would worry, you know, about putting your baby to sleep and are they gonna be there when you wake up in the morning, and like just stuff like that. So yeah, I would say was one of the hardest parts for me. Just put those thoughts out of your mind. Whatever is good, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is true, you know, think on those things. How much do you make off of YouTube? That's an interesting question. YouTube pays you by how many people like watch an ad or skip through an ad, even like, I don't know, the longer you watch an ad, the more money I will make, but it's like very small amount, but it's kind of cool. Like all the little drips end up making a puddle. And after a while, it's actually something that's works for you. I would say the money I make off of YouTube is not life-changing, but the money I make with sponsorships and stuff is very life-changing. If you add all that up over, well, it is for us because we save it all. Like we put all the money I make for YouTube into a pile and then we do something with it, like buy a rental property or something. So if it wasn't for that and like you guys watching my channel and coming back all the time, and I say that that money is life-changing, but it's not life-changing in the way that I am doing anything and changing my lifestyle because of that money. It's more life-changing and just like in the back of my head, I know that, wow, we have a rent check coming in every month to help pay for our kids' Christian education and stuff like that. And so I think it's life-changing in that when we first got married, we literally were putting aside a very little bit each month, and it's like, how are we ever going to get ahead? And God's like, I'm going to help you get ahead. And it's been amazing. I have been very blessed beyond words, and I try to give generously, and I tell Josh all the time, I don't know why I have this YouTube platform. It is so amazing. And what does God want us to do with this money? What does God want us to do with this opportunity? Because God gave me this. I fully believe. I didn't even ask for it. There's been sacrifices lately. I feel like almost too many sacrifices for my family. And so I've been having to like stop thinking like a businesswoman. I make a lot of stupid business decisions, guys, because I'm a mom and I want to be a mom first. I'd rather be a stupid businesswoman and a smart mom than the other way around. And so it's always like, there's tough decisions sometimes when you're trying to have both. And so that's something I'm still navigating. My husband helps keep me in check. And yeah, kind of a nosy question, but a fun one too. How do you get your nail polish from chipping? You guys go watch my videos. My nails are horrible. Actually, right now, I tried to take I don't know what for nail polish I had on. I put on acetone to take it off and it would not come off. Like I still have little chips all over my nails, even though they're supposed to be like nothing on them. It doesn't come off. So I'm like trying to scratch it off and like, yeah, you're not getting any nail advice from me, sorry. And I've gotten a professional manicure 5 times in my life. And I love the pretty nails. I enjoy that part. I do not enjoy the sitting there. I'm too antsy and I don't know. It's not something I enjoy. I don't enjoy spending $75 to have it done. So I just paint my own nails and then they chip in like 5-7 days. I never answered the best part of being a mom, did I? I just said the worst part. The best part of being a mom? Oh my goodness, the children. I mean, what else is there to say? They're just the best. I like my kids. I don't know, that may sound weird, but I think they teach me so much. They're hilarious. They help me look at the world in a different way. Yeah, I really like actually me and Josh say that often, like when we come away from a group of people and like, we're like, did people like enjoy our kids? Like we want people to not be annoyed by our children. We want them to be pleasant and to be like nice to be around. And that's really hard because you can't control your kids, especially when you're out in public. But that's like one of our things. We want our kids to be enjoyable. And we're always like, if we don't like our own kids, then that's a personal problem. We got to fix it because if we don't like our kids, how is the rest of the world going to enjoy them? So yeah, that's just always something we keep in mind. But I genuinely enjoy my children. Of course, I love my children, but liking them is a whole nother thing. I want them to feel liked by their parents. I tell them all the time, I love going to the grocery store with you, or it's so fun to hang out at the park together, or you know what, I could be doing this or this right now, but I want to go do that with you. Let's go do something together. For me, I don't want to sound like a hero here, but Josh's favorite thing to do to wind down and like have some fun is to go golfing. And for me, it's honestly like family time, going biking, going hiking, doing something together as a family is one of my favorite things ever. Okay, I did tell you this is a girl chat, so menstrual cups or no, favorite brand. I do use one. I can't say that it's like foolproof. I've had some accidents and it does take it, there's like a little bit of a learning curve. I use the Salt brand, but now I keep hearing about these discs that I should try, and I have friends who swear by the period underwear, which I cannot even imagine doing. I guess I should try it before I say no, but I don't even wear a pad, guys. I think they're awful. I think that's one of the worst parts about postpartum is having to wear a pad. But yeah, I do like the menstrual cup, and maybe I should try the disc. Favorite comfy sandals for spring, summer. I like to be barefoot, honestly. I don't like the sandals that like over time they conform to your foot because I feel like they start to feel gross. I like more like the flat-footed, harder sandals. That's just me. I have some linked in my Amazon storefront, I think, but I don't really wear sandals for comfort. I wear them for pretty. So if that tells you anything. If I want to be comfortable, I'll just be barefoot. How to ask for help with housework and littles without feeling mom guilt. Wow, that's a really good question and something I have an opinion on. This whole idea in the world of making your children work and how that's exploiting them is not true. I feel like raising your children to be a upstanding citizen, part of that is teaching them how to work, teaching them how to be a part of a team, part of a unit. I tell my children all the time, okay, we're a team. We're gonna get the house cleaned up. Put your hands in. 1, 2, 3, team. You know, whatever. I'm gonna teach my children to work, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. I don't feel bad for it at all. I was raised that way. I was raised on a farm, and when I look back, it's like that's how I wish my children could be raised on a farm. You know, what do they say? Idleness. Boredom is the devil's workshop. Idleness is the devil's workshop. I don't know. If you're busy, you're not getting into trouble, right? And so I definitely don't overwork my kids. I probably am on the lower end of things. I really should teach them to do more. They do help with laundry and dishes and a few things like that, but not on the regular, like they have a chore list every day that they do it. Like half the time, if they're playing happily, I just end up doing it myself because they're being a help by entertaining the baby. But if you're not getting your kids to help around the house, I think that's when you should be feeling the mom guilt. Hot take, I know. But yeah, honestly, I mean, who's gonna raise your children to be good citizens and employees and coworkers and contribute to society if it isn't for the parents, right? And that needs to start at a young age. Now, if you are sitting on your butt doing nothing and making your children do all the work, yeah, then you should probably be feeling a little guilt as well, obviously. And I just think you need to also remember that you are the leader of your home, and what is the best leader? A leader leads by example. A leader does not ask his little minions to do anything he would not be willing to do himself, right? So if I would not be willing to do it, why would I ask my son or daughter to do it? But yeah, along those lines, leave me down below, what do your 5-year-olds do? And maybe actually looking ahead, like what do your 6 and 7-year-olds do? What do you do to keep them busy? Like, should I be getting some animals for them? Some bunnies or chickens or something? I would love to get chickens, I would love it, but I'm not sure if that makes sense or not because my mom lives a mile away and she gives us eggs, but it would be nice to have them right in our backyard. Like, I will spend money to give my children work. My parents did that for us. They spent money to get chickens. Yeah, they were spending money out of their own pockets to give us work to do. So I respect that. Honestly, when I was in high school, they would do like the superlatives or whatever, like most likely to this and whatever. My cousin, Jana, you guys know her, she got the best work ethic one in her grade. And so the next year I was like, I better get that. Everybody knows I'm a hard worker. You know, I work really hard. They didn't even do that category. And they made me most dramatic, along with my friend, who we are not dramatic. I'm kidding. I think we were pretty dramatic at the time. Not drama, like, you know, causing drama, stirring the pot, but just like, you know, we could tell a good story, I guess. Anyway, wow, guys. That was a fun one. Wow. I actually really enjoyed myself. I hope you guys did too. I want to do these more, maybe once a quarter or something. So thanks for all of you who send in questions. I really appreciate it. Check out Natural Cycles. And for all you mamas who are out there trying to become a mama, trying to get pregnant, and it's just kind of frustrating for you, I pray for you that your family would come to you soon. I didn't talk about that earlier as much, but maybe Natural Cycles could help you with that. Learn more about your body and your cycle and everything. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.